Last night, the Carolina Hurricanes kicked off their 6-game road trip in Winnipeg with a 2-1 loss to the Jets. Find out what went wrong, what they need to do to fix it, and what is next for them in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs. I'm your host, Jared Ellis, and you're listening to Locked On Hurricanes on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And as always, thank you for making Locked On Hurricanes your first listen of this Tuesday afternoon. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Now, last night, the Hurricanes took a 2-1 loss in regulation to the Winnipeg Jets. And tell me if you've heard this story before. Good effort, but we didn't get the result. And I'm pretty sick and tired of hearing that. You know, the Hurricanes, they outshot the Jets. What was the final shot total here? 43-22. How many times have we had this conversation, guys? I've ran this show for 5 seasons now. I've said it since it started. Yeah, this whole thing of them nearly or more, sometimes more than doubling the opponent's shots on goal and still losing the game. It's extremely frustrating. And I have said countless times before as well, you're going against an NHL team. Anything can happen on any given night. Kudos to Winnipeg's goalie last night. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm not going to try to. I don't want to butcher it. But guys are going to have good nights. Guys are going to have bad nights. It happens. But this is nothing new for the Hurricanes. This is old news here of let's have so many shots on goal, we get one and we still lose. We get one. Yes, I know there's been other times we've had more than that, but we still lose the freaking game. Don't even get to overtime and get a point. I really thought over the weekend, that really convincing win over the Sabres on the second, when they beat them 6-2. I really thought like, okay, we're coming off, kind of that frustrating loss to the Islanders in overtime. We got that 4-game point streak going, 3-0-1 at the time. I'm like, okay, we got some momentum. We can build, we can really get some momentum behind us, get them on the right track. Remember at the start of the year, this was a team that was favorite to win the Stanley Cup. And just this, it's getting really frustrating having the same conversation over and over. Now we know how our parents felt when we were kids, and they kept telling us the same thing over and over and over again. Because I've said many times, sometimes it just feels like this team is just going out there and just shooting to shoot. They're using the logo on the opposing goalie's chest as target practice. They're shooting to shoot, and they're not shooting to score. And not only did we have that the 43 shots on goal to Winnipeg's 22, we yet again had a repeat first period. We've seen this a whole bunch this season so far. They dominated the first 15 minutes or so, and then for the 10th time in 24 games, the Hurricanes gave up a goal in the final 5 minutes. I've said so many times, just literally the same thing, when it comes to shots on goal. Play the full 60 minutes. Don't take your foot off the gas. They were absolutely dominating. And yeah, they didn't have a goal or anything like that, but they had momentum on their side. Uh, they through the first I have this up here. Where was it? Again, they complete this is from the Hurricanes recap thing on their website, quote, completely dominating the first 15 minutes of the evening. Carolina jumped out to a 12-0 shots advantage during that time. Like, again, guys are going to have good games, but you had all of the momentum on your side and you're still coming up short. And then you kind of take your foot off the gas and, you know, Winnipeg, just their second shot of the night. Kyle Connor made it 1-0, beating Antti Ranta, who was making his first start in 10 days. So it better shot selection. Play the full 60 minutes. Again, stuff is going to happen. We all know that. We're all adults. We all know stuff is going to happen. You're going to have frustrating games. But when it's the same issues game after game after game, month after month, year after year, season after season, what the heck? Like, again, stuff happens, but it's getting very frustrating of it being the same issue over and over. Like I said, I really felt going into this that, hey, they got some momentum on their side. They can really go out. They can do something. And yeah, you get into the second period. Winnipeg ends up, Ellers, ends up, kind of beating a few Hurricanes defenders, to put the Jets up 2-0. Thankfully, Martin Necas, he ended up, towards the end of the second period, ended up giving the Hurricanes a chance, getting them their only goal of the night, and at least getting them to a spot where they could at least force overtime and get a point, but that wasn't the case. And you know, again, kudos to Winnipeg's goalie. Like I said, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name because I'm not going to butcher it. So, kudos to him. Obviously, he had a heck of a game. He made 42 saves. That's nothing to scoff at. Even as frustrated as I am with the Hurricanes of these same issues over and over and over, you know, 42 saves is 42 saves. You know, that just is what it is. He went out, he did his thing. So again, kudos to them, because I feel like, a lot of folks, may have thought, oh, the Hurricanes are just going to go in and win this game. That wasn't the case. And, one positive thing, was, the Hurricanes, they only had to kill off one penalty. That was another thing I was getting frustrated with them about, was how they were, just seemingly taking a bunch of careless penalties. Uh, and they did clean that up, in this game, which was really good. But I think that Winnipeg, they almost had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder in this game. And you just look at some of the stats, hits, 22-11 in favor of Winnipeg, blocked shots 18-10 in favor of Winnipeg, takeaways. Yeah, it just felt like Winnipeg had a bit more of a chip on their shoulder, and to no surprise, the Hurricanes power play didn't show up, going over 3 on it. But that's another thing. I'm just sick of wasting my breath on the Hurricanes power play at this point. Nothing changes with it. It's the same story game after game after game. But I did kind of voice my frustrations a little bit of what we were saying about, or what I was saying about the out shooting, but Jalen Chatfield, he did Yeah, I think he had the best post game quote here after the game, and we'll also discuss Martin Necas and Rod Brind'amour and what they had to say also right after this quick break, folks. No, folks, it's that time of the year. It's hockey season. You're going to be wanting to go to a game. It's NBA season. You're going to be wanting to go to a game. There's so much stuff going on right now, and you shouldn't have to worry when buying tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all these sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you with killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. And you're going to be asking yourself, what are some things that you can be looking for with this app? Well, again, last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. And you get views from all the seats in the venue, lowest price, guaranteed event cancellation protection, job loss protection, etc. Now, I've used Game Time before. A few months back, me and a friend of mine, we went to AEW Collision in Greensboro, and the app was super easy to use. Like, they say here, you get a view from your seat, and we had a great seat down in the lower ball, almost to the floor, looking directly at the ring, looking directly at the ramp. It was absolutely fantastic seats, and honestly, maybe the best seats I've ever had at a wrestling show, and I got them through Game Time. So, folks, don't hesitate here. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event, and even an hour after it starts. It's the best place to find last minute seats because sometimes you may not know if you're going to be able to go to something, whether it be work or personal stuff, and then all of a sudden you can go. Game Time has you covered. So again, find flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Those zone deals, you get to pick the section, and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find the tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time would credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use code Locked On NHL for $20 off your first purchase. That's code Locked On NHL, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Now, folks, getting into the post game stuff and what was said there. Again, I do want to dive into Jalen Chatfield first because I kind of agree with his the most. Jalen Chatfield was giving his thoughts and sharing what the mentality needs to be as the group heads to Edmonton. Again, all this is from the Hurricanes post game article on their website. Quote, we didn't get the win. We took a couple breathers and they capitalized on it. We had a lot of positives. We played a pretty decent game and we just have to move on from here. We wanted to start the road trip off with a win, but it's a long trip. We don't have to dwell on it too much. We need to learn from our mistakes and move forward. We have some tough games coming up and we want to get those wins. We have to keep moving from here, end quote. He said it best. They took breathers and the Jets capitalized on it. Exactly. Exactly. How many times have I said play the full 60 minutes? Don't take those breathers. Because when you take the breathers, this kind of thing happens. It's happened numerous times before, and it continues to happen when you do it. I mean, I know, for the audio only people, you may not have seen me throwing up my hands on that one, but you're taking the breathers. You're acknowledging that you're taking them, and you're still doing it. That's not a slight to Jalen Chatfield at all. I think I've said many times he's the one that needs to be in the lineup, not Tony DeAngelo. Uh, but yeah, they're taking breathers, and the other team is capitalizing on it. I mean, you're lucky the game didn't get out of hand. But it's it's frustrating. Martin Necas, he also had continuing to express his frustrations on the out shooting the other team. We're going to dive into this as well because I just feel like I've said everything I can when it comes to the breathers and all of that. Martin Necas expressing frustrations on out shooting a team by a large amount, 43-22, yet coming out on the wrong side of the score. Quote, we always get a lot of shots and we don't give up that many shots. And when we do, they're grade A chances, and that's tough on goalies. We've got to figure that out because it happens a lot this season in games like that. What I want to say, I can't say because this is a family show. And yeah, you are doing it a lot this season. Okay. I said before, I don't expect these changes to happen overnight, but it's getting to the point where it's just like, where's the it just feels like, yeah, they're just spinning their wheels. They're just spinning their wheels. And yeah, oh man, I much more agree with the players here than Brind'amour. They're clearly frustrated, and I think that they need to use that frustration in a productive way heading into the rest of this road trip. Don't get out there, get sloppy, take a bunch of careless penalties and whatnot. Like, all right, Natchez, you're giving you get a lot of shots and you're giving up these grade A chances to the other team. We'll tighten up defensively so you aren't giving those up. It Your defense has not been up to the standard that you set over the team as a whole, not him. The team's defense has not been up to the standard that you guys have set over the past 5 years. And at times it looks like Swiss cheese out there. Yes, you got your traffic cone out of the lineup, which was a big help. Uh, okay, continue to work defensively. Uh, I don't know how things are in the locker room, but you remember a couple weeks ago, Jordan Stahl was saying that felt guys weren't buying in. Okay, get them to buy in, or if it's clearly just not working, make the move. Make the move. If someone isn't gelling with the team and is hurting them, make the move. You're only damaging your. They're only damaging the team by continuing to keep someone on the team that isn't buying in. That is just continuing to bring them up. I don't know if that is the same. If that's the case still, I don't know. That's just what was said a couple weeks ago. But tighten up defensively if you're tired of giving up these grade A chances. You just this team is known for being one of, if not the best defensive teams in the NHL. Tighten up. Uh Chatfield, tired, frustrated about taking breathers and other teams capitalizing on it. Play the full 60 minutes. Play the full 60 minutes. Don't give them the opportunities. Don't do it. And again, I know this stuff is easy for me to sit here and say, easy for you to sit there and say, easy for my next door neighbor, to say, we don't play in the NHL. All right. It's going to be a lot easier for us to sit here and criticize, stuff, taking the breathers, you know, um, giving up these chances. It's easy for us to sit here and criticize it. We're not out on the ice doing it. But when it's the same thing time after time after time, you guys are acknowledging it in these post-game interviews that this is an issue that is happening and continuing to happen. Okay. Put some effort into fixing it. Plain and simple. Again, I don't expect these things to be overnight. I really hope this is just a bump in the road. I do. I really hope it's just a bump in the road, because before this game, like I said, it felt like, they had something behind them. And, because they were on that 4-game point streak, they're 3-0-1. It felt like they did have something. Hopefully, this is just a little bump. And then come Wednesday, they'll be back on track. But, Brind'amour, this is what he had to say, offering his thoughts on the contest. Quote, "We played a good game. That's a really good team. I thought we pretty much dominated the first period and we were down 1. That's just the way it goes. Sometimes we weren't able to find the back of the net. I thought the middle period was pretty even, and in the third, we were pretty good. We had a lot of opportunities again, and we just weren't able to find the back of the net." Okay, whatever. We're just kind of going to gloss past that because there's really nothing to take away, because he's just saying the most generic stuff. Okay. Not really anything to take away from there. I may be being a little bit too positive. But again, the sky is not falling down by any means with this team right now. But I do feel that they need to start to get some of these issues in check. They do. I know it feels like, season after season, around this time of the year. So this kind of ends up being an issue they have of, out shooting and, not playing full 60 and all that stuff. But man, they got to get it in check. They really, really do. But, I do want to take a look at the road trip ahead for them. And we will do that right after this quick break, folks. No, folks, when you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you could do the same thing with your business team? If you're building a roster to win the league, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. Hate waiting. Indeed's US data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Now, folks, with Indeed Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you can get a short list of quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Indeed does the hard work for you, sponsor a job, and boom, Instant Match shows you candidates whose resume on Indeed fit your job description immediately after you post. With Instant Match, you can start hiring fast. So join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows you're growing your own business and you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. So visit Indeed.com/locked on to start hiring now. Indeed knows that finding people with the right skills makes all the difference when you're hiring a team of one. Indeed knows Hiring needs to be cost effective when you're running your own business also. And Indeed knows that you are doing everything for your company and you can't afford to overspend on hiring. So again, visit indeed.com/locked on to start hiring now. Just go to indeed.com/locked on, indeed.com/locked on. Terms and conditions apply. Costs per application, pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire, you need Indeed. Now, looking ahead to the Hurricanes road trip, they were obviously they were leaving Winnipeg right after the game last night to then fly to Edmonton, and then they were practicing today on Tuesday, and then they have the game on tomorrow. So, the Hurricanes, I think that that Edmonton game could be a game where they can really just kind of go in and get uh, a bit of a confidence builder back. I think that that's what that game can be for them. Um, and I really think that you know Edmonton, they haven't had a great year. They're currently sitting at 9-12-1. Uh, I think that that can be a game where they just get some confidence back in them. Like I said, let's hope that this Winnipeg game was just a bump in the road. Let's hope that was the case. All right. And then following that, they have Calgary on the 9th, who are sitting as of recording at 10-11-3. Then you have Vancouver on the 12th. That one's going to be a big test. Vancouver is currently sitting at 16-8-1. And then following that, they then go to Ottawa on the 14th, then Detroit on the 15th, and then are finally back home on December 17th, where they take on the Nashville Predators. So the Hurricanes, again, they still have a lot of stuff to work with. And this is only the first game of this road trip. So, I think that, they just need to focus on keeping it simple. That's the big thing for this road trip for Edmonton, for Calgary, Vancouver, all of them. Keep it simple and stick to their game. Don't try to go out there and do too much. We saw that the other night when they lost to the Islanders. Seth Jarvis, he took the blame for that, of him trying to be quote unquote too cute with stuff he was out there doing. Just keep it simple, stick to your game, don't do anything crazy, play the full 60 minutes, play good defense. Don't be like Swiss cheese out there and let whoever do whatever they want out there on the ice. Again, yeah, Edmonton isn't necessarily having the best season, but they still do have Connor McDavid on that team, and if you give him an opportunity, he's going to take it. Plain and freaking simple. So that's going to be really key for them, is just, playing good Hurricanes hockey. And when I say Hurricanes hockey, I don't mean, oh, let's, have 50 shots on goal and lose the game when the opponent only has 20 or whatever. Nothing like that. Let's not experience that Canes hockey. But just play a really good defensive game and create those chances, create those grade A chances, and whenever you are shooting, make sure your shot selection is good too. Don't just shoot to shoot. Again, I get, all right, you're trying to create pressure, and that's fine and all, but like I said, sometimes it just feels like they're just throwing the puck at the net just to see what sticks, or what. I guess sure, we'll go with that terminology, but yeah, uh, play good, smart hockey is really what I'm looking for throughout the rest of this road trip. Again, I'm not expecting them to win all of the games. Well, obviously they're not going to now. They already lost the first one. But if they could win 4, they could win 4 of them, or at least get points in 4 of them. I'd be fine with that. Again, I'm not expecting to win every game on this road trip or every remaining game on the road trip. I wasn't expecting to win everyone before it even started. But like, let's try to get about 4 wins out of this. You know, let's try to get that. Yeah, I think they could beat Edmonton. You know, Calgary, Vancouver, those may be a bit tougher. Ottawa, you should be able to get a win there. And Detroit, they're better. They obviously just added Patrick Kane, so we'll see how that goes. So I think they could get 3-4 wins. I think they can beat Edmonton, they can beat Calgary, they can beat Ottawa. Vancouver and Detroit, honestly, those are the two more toss ups, I guess. But we know the talent this team has, and we know they're capable of beating these two teams. We know they're capable of beating Vancouver. We know they're capable of beating Detroit. So, even if you're just getting into overtime in those games, I think that's something good. And they just need to continue to have things that they can build off of. I think looking at this game against Winnipeg, I know I ranted a lot, but they only took one penalty. I think that's something they can build off of. Even if you take those first 15 minutes of the game, I think that's something that they can build off of. Like, all right, we were doing really good here. But then we took our foot off the gas, took a breather, and look where they are now. So I think that they have stuff they can build off of, but we're just going to have to give it time. We're just going to have to wait till tomorrow and then every game past that. So let's hope that they continue to just right this ship a little bit and just get on the path that they need to be on. Hopefully this Winnipeg game is just a speed bump. Hopefully that's all it was. Hopefully everything's going to be fine, but we're just going to have to wait and see. So make sure you're following the show along on social media at LO_Hurricanes and myself at Jared Ellis _96, folks. Stay tuned tomorrow where we preview the game against Edmonton. Looking forward to it. Hopefully we're getting a win in that game, but we're going to preview it. And then after that, we're going to watch it. And that's going to be what it's going to be. And we're going to have fun doing it, folks. So make sure, again, you're following the show along on social media. And as always, folks, let's go Canes.